we're going to get into the Shedeur Sanders performance against what is a very bad Las Vegas Raiders team. But
Yeah.
that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders came in as the first time he broke a streak 17 times in a row. There's been a game one starter in the NFL for the Cleveland Browns. This is the first time he broke an unbelievable statistic. He broke against all odds of being a Cleveland Brown. He did something that nobody's done, and he gets a first win as a starter. So congratulations to Shedeur Sanders. Jaime, what did you see from Shedeur that you liked? I saw some of the tweets you were putting out. I watched the whole game. I was excited to see I saw all the comments underneath, right? Everybody's like, well, Myles Garrett had unbelievable. They had 10 sacks. I get it that the Raiders are bad. So let me qualify this by saying, Jaime and I both understand that the Raiders suck.
Are very bad.
We are very aware that is a bad football team. But I'm tired of people qualifying wins in the NFL. Wins are wins, and you can only play who is on your schedule. And at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders did a lot of things that I liked today. Jaime, what did you see from Shedeur?
Before I get to Shedeur, you know who also is bad? The Browns.
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, you know what I mean? It's not like you took it's not like the Rams. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, wow, I can't believe the Rams beat the Rams. Like, the Browns haven't been good either. So you got to beat who you can beat. I'm very excited actually to have a football conversation around Shedeur Sanders because I feel like, unfortunately, even going back to last year at Colorado, who we followed very closely at the Draft Network. We followed him throughout the process. Obviously, as somebody that is a fan myself of a Big 12 team, I followed him very closely as I was watching Arizona State attempt to get into the Big 12 title game, which they did. But this has evolved so far beyond football that unfortunately I think that it is not, people aren't even thinking about football anymore. And this was a perfectly fine first start.
Okay.
It was perfectly fine. He had a unbelievable throw downfield to Isaiah Bond off platform, displaying the arm strength that everybody kept telling me that he didn't have in the pre-draft process, which he did. No, is it an elite arm? No, it's not. And it's admittedly not an elite arm, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have an elite arm. There's a difference between an elite arm and an NFL caliber arm. He can make the throws you need to make at the NFL, and that was a good example. He also got caught. He also got baited on against the zone defense and threw right into triple coverage because he didn't see that the defensive end was dropping back. He had his good moments. He had his bad moments. But he operated the offense in an efficient manner for the most part. He made big plays down the field, which allowed the Browns to open up their offense a little bit. They have been such a condensed offense with Dillon Gabriel because that was Dillon Gabriel's strengths. Even going back to Joe Flacco early in the season, right now, he's a guy at his stage of his career that wants to get the ball out very quickly. Like, that is his goal, just get the ball out as quickly as possible. So the offense in Cleveland was very condensed. It opened up the offense a little bit more in this game with Shedeur Sanders. And that is what his proponents have been pushing for, is that, even if you say the skill level is the same between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, for example, that what Shedeur Sanders does well can allow the other elements of the Browns offense to flourish, or at least give them that opportunity. And then it's up to Shedeur to execute, and as well as the offensive line and Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, who made the play of the game. Obviously, if you look at the stat line, the touchdown is the huge screen pass that goes it was like 69 yards, I believe, with Dylan Sampson. But it was a perfectly fine first start. It was like a good little appetizer. I liked the appetizer enough that I want to eat the meal. I want to see more. I don't think we can make a grand proclamation either way. I know Kevin Stefanski came out after the game and didn't name a starter, and I know he's in a little bit of an awkward situation himself right now, because I do believe that every indication was that they were going to redshirt Shedeur this year, and then look, quite frankly, this whole organizational structure is out of sync. We know that, but the GM and coach are not in sync, and we've known that for a bit. And unfortunately, it's affected both of these young quarterbacks. But I do think we need to see Shedeur Sanders next week. I don't think you should.
I agree.
Dillon Gabriel hasn't done enough yet that he gets the job back after the other guy wins. Like that's it for me. If it was Joe Flacco 100%. Still, if it was, somebody of that caliber, maybe you go, we got the veteran there. I think they should see Shedeur Sanders again, and they need to see what they have.
Yep.
And I know you and Keith talked about this a few episodes back about trying to figure out what the right combination of games for these guys are. The Browns need to figure out, are they in the QB market this year or not? Whether it's Gabriel,
Correct.
whether it's Sanders, they need to find out, hey, we've got 2 first-round picks. One of them is going to be in the top 10 because we're the Browns. So are we going to make a move for Fernando Mendoza? Are we going to make a move for Dante Moore if he comes out, or
Yeah.
Ty Simpson, or we can take a chance on a guy like a Jade Mayava, a Darian Mensah, a Brendan Sorsby, somebody else in those middle rounds? You need to know that soon. And you need to know that
Yes.
before free agency. Or are we saying, you know what? We're going to rock with just Shedeur, or we're going to rock with just Dylan, or we're going to have an open competition between just those two. We'll bring in a third quarterback camp arm or something, but one of those two are going to be our guy. You need to know this by the end of the season. And so you've gotten a little bit of a sample size of Dylan Gabriel so far. Get yourself a little bit of a sample size of Shedeur Sanders, and then sit down this offseason. As an organization, you have to ask yourself the tough questions. Do we like these guys better than the next available options to us? Those next available options to you are really just young guys right now during Deshaun Watson's contract. By the way, that's going to be a thing they're going to have to worry about this offseason when Deshaun Watson
Hello.
puts his hand up and says, I'm ready to play again, guys.
No kidding.
Then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things this organization has to figure out. They're not going to be able to go out and trade for like a Kyler Murray or something like that. It's not. So you have to decide your situation. And quite frankly, we know they're not going to start Deshaun Watson again. They're going to have to do something with Deshaun Watson, but they're not going to start him again. So you're going to have to decide, are our young guys better than the guys we're evaluating right now that are coming out of college? And to do that, you need to study Shedeur a little bit more. And I think you and I both, I know it sucks for Dylan Gabriel a little bit because he's kind of unfortunately caught up in the same thing Shedeur's caught up in, and he's caught up in this war of factions. It has nothing to do with either one of these two men. And it has everything to do with preconceived notions from all over the sides, and everybody is being ridiculous. Just everybody in the equation is being ridiculous.
Correct.
But from a football standpoint, I thought Shedeur Sanders was the second best quarterback in this draft class behind Cam Ward. And that was the consensus opinion by pretty much all of us at the Draft Network. He was the second best quarterback, and we had him over Jackson Dart. You know, we had him over Tyler Shuck. We had him over everybody else. That talent is still there. Now, whether you feel like you can, is that talent better than Fernando Mendoza? That's a matter of opinion. Will you be in a position to draft one of those guys? Is that talent? You have to say, if you're doing a draft today, where would Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel rank for you in your available options coming out of the draft? That's what you have to decide. Now, if you win a couple more games, odds are those quarterbacks you're going to like are going to be gone. But either way, you need to make that determination. And this is the only way you can do that is by giving him more reps. If Kevin Stefanski goes back to Dylan Gabriel next week, I think is a massive mistake. And I think it would be the first time that I would put 100% blame on him. I know he's been the scapegoat here, but his GM and his owners put him in bad spots, not just with Shedeur, but they traded the starting quarterback that he picked for the start of the season out from under him. Then they drafted a quarterback that the owner wanted after the quarterback the organization wanted. And then they kind of flip-flopped about, well, okay, I'm going to redshirt Shedeur for the year, and we'll see what we have next. No, now he's got to start. So I understand Stefanski's been the punching bag in this equation, but he has been set up in a bad spot by his superiors, and has also got caught up in this entire war that has nothing to do with football and everything to do with everything but football.
Correct.
But at this stage, with the information we have now, we need to see more of Shedeur Sanders before we can make a determination, because you have to find out. Because he could be. You might look at this and say he's the second best quarterback if we compare him to the guys in the draft, or he is the best. We like him more than anybody
100%.
in this draft. You got to find that out, and you have to find that out over the next 6 weeks.
Unfortunately for Dylan, he got injured. You know, and that's the tough part. Is I really liked what Dylan was doing in the game. I mean, they were winning that football game against the Baltimore Ravens. Dylan was playing really good football, and unfortunately, this is just what happens in life, in football. When somebody goes down, somebody else steps up, and Shedeur won the football game. And I don't think you can turn away now from what you saw. And to your point, Dylan didn't show enough to go back to him, right? He was playing that game that he went down in. That was the best we'd seen him play. He was playing really good football. And unfortunately, you know, he goes down with a concussion and he's out this game. I can't, I really like the point you made with Stefanski is I've been defending Stefanski because I know that he's a very good coach. He's won coach of the year. I've seen what he can do. And unfortunately for him, he's stuck in this position with all this shenanigans that's going on the outside that has absolutely nothing to do with him coaching football and has everything to do with everybody else's opinion about insert quarterback A, B, C,
Mhm.
or D, right? And all this, just everything that is, and that's before you even entered the Deshaun Watson conversation
Yeah.
into one of the worst contracts and worst deals in the history of the NFL. So this has been a lot for any coach to handle. But what you saw from Shedeur, I think as much as I saw Jackson Dart get hyped up for a just mid performance in New York, okay? And the definition of mid. If I saw that get hyped up, then I better let everybody understand Shedeur gets the same opportunity because Jackson Dart threw for under 200 yards. He was it was a you look at the stat lines and I'm
Mhm.
going to tell you Shedeur's was better. Jackson Dart had good, and I get it. The way Jackson was playing was not sustainable. I don't think the version of Shedeur that we saw today, they played a very bad football team. To beat better teams, he's going to have to be better. But the reality is, he can only play who's on his schedule. This was his first start, and you saw some things you liked and some
Mhm.
things you can build around. And that's all you can ask for. He got out there. Hopefully, he gained some confidence in himself, right? The guys around him. You saw Myles Garrett's face on the sideline when he made that
Mhm.
throw. The team believes in him. This is something in Cleveland. He did something that has not happened 17 straight times. They've started
No.
a quarterback and lost. To break that streak, that felt like, oh my God, what a curse was lifted, right?
Yeah.
Amongst Cleveland Browns. And I'm telling you, as a Chicago Bears fan, Browns fans, there is some opportunity. Grass can be greener on the other side if you allow yourselves the opportunity to change the way that you've done things. So, Cleveland, I'm begging you to stop doing what you've been doing, which is to
Yeah.
constantly turn over quarterback. Don't go draft another quarterback. Give this guy a proper amount of time to evaluate who he is as a quarterback and then give him a proper offseason and give
Mhm.
him proper players around him and let Stefanski make him his guy if he earns that spot. But what I'm telling you is every bit of the hype I saw around Jackson Dart, let Shedeur have his moment. He deserves it. He had a good game. He controlled the game. He did everything we needed him to do. And I'm not going to allow the shenanigans that I saw for Jackson Dart based off of very mid-level performances, right? And I understand they beat the Eagles, but come on now. We just
Yeah.
saw what happened against the Cowboys.
The thing you talk about, like with the team responding, that is the other factor that you kind of assume, but then you kind of see it. And
Yeah.
it reminded me a lot when the Browns brought in Baker Mayfield against the Jets,
Mm.
if you remember that, and kind of
Yeah.
kind of like the energy change that kind of happened around that team. And obviously that ending didn't end the way that everybody wanted to because it's the Browns, so it never does. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you have nothing to lose. I want to have some level of confidence about whether this is going to be the guy we're going to build around going forward or not over the next 6 weeks. That
Correct.
is your number one mission. That is the most important thing that you're going to have to figure out. It's more important than Myles Garrett potentially setting the sack record, which he's now on
Yep.
pace to do. It's more important than any other piece of information. This is going to be the key. And like I think you said on the last episode of Draft Club, football ain't fair. Like,
No,
unfortunately, it
it's
for
not.
Dylan, he got hurt. And he might get Wally
Yep.
pipped here. I don't think it's going
Yeah.
to be the last game Dylan Gabriel starts in the NFL, but it might be the last game he starts for this year if
No.
Shedeur Sanders earns the right to continue playing. And today,
Correct.
and to me, I'm fine with taking this game by game. And after Sunday, he
100%
earned the right to play next week as the starter.
play another game. I totally agree.